You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 9th, 2023 meeting of LaPorte County Drainage Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Joe Cuson.
Here.
Hugh Glasgow.
Here.
Tony Hendricks.
Here.
Connie Graham Rosa. Sorry, she's not here. Jeff Mitzner.
Here.
Pat Vance.
Here.
Brad Adamski.
Here. Is there anything we need to add to the agenda?
Your microphone.
Mine? It's on. Oh, no, it's not. Now it is. Anything we need to add to the agenda? Uncovered. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 2, Wagner Estates Urban Drain Petitions and Surveyors Report.
This is a new subdivision, an extension of Wagner Estates 1 for the final phase to the north, and they are petitioning for a regulated urban drain. We have the petitions here for the new 18 lots, and we are recommending a cost of $300 per lot with a ceiling, with an annual assessment of $5,400 for all 18 lots, with a ceiling of $21,600. The only thing, and there's nothing special about the subdivision, I reviewed the design, the retention basin, and the infrastructure. It'll be a county public road, correct? Be dedicated public road. So our jurisdiction is to maintain and keep the structures and the infrastructure working. The only thing strange about this one is that they will have to put a safety ledge in there for this pond. It's deep. I think it's 17 feet deep, so we don't want anyone sliding in there and losing people. It's in a residential area. It's a residential subdivision. So do we need to read these into the record? It's an establishment of a regulated drain establishment and classification as an urban drain. Read them real quick. Petition of Wagner Estates 2 subdivision for establishment of a regulated drain in the county drainage system of LaPorte County. 18 lots, 25.42 acres. Part of the south half of section 20, 38 north to west. 1,995 feet of 18-inch storm pipe, 95 feet of 12-inch storm pipe, curb and gutter, one retention basin, pipes, storm manholes, and 15 curb inlets. Irish Rentals LLC, 4404 Technology Drive, South Bend, Indiana, 46628. And a Wagner Estates 2 subdivision for classification as an urban drain in the county drainage system of LaPorte County. Again, 18 lots, 25.42 acres. Part of the south half of section 20, 38 north to west, 1,995 feet of 18-inch storm pipe, 95 feet of 12-inch storm pipe, curb and gutter, one retention basin, 2 ends of pipe, 2 storm manholes, and 15 curb inlets by Irish Rentals LLC, 4404 Technology Drive, South Bend, Indiana, 46628. And the motion is to approve both the classification, establishment of a regulated drain and classification as an urban drain, pending review by our office for the safety ledge and the retention pond.
Tony, for the board, where's this at?
This is north, so Heston Hills, Fail Road, and 200.
Okay.
I've reviewed all their calculations and then the submittals, and they are fine.
Who did the engineering on this?
Whiteman.
There's our engineer right there.
Whiteman Engineering. They were a Michigan company last year. They moved down to South Bend, and still we have in-house engineers here in South Bend and Indiana licensed engineers in South Bend.
For your name for the record?
Nathan Flickner.
Thank you. There's nothing that, out of the ordinary in this one.
So I guess we need a motion to approve.
Yes.
Yeah, motion to approve of the establishment of the regulated drain and classification of urban drain pending our review of the safety.
How'd you come up with the money on this assessment?
We look at the pipes in the pond and figure out how much it would cost if we had to go in there and maintain it, clean it. And then we look at the total number of lots. So we have an amount that would cost for maintenance. If we had to go in there and do some maintenance, clean the pond, mow the pond, clean out some infrastructure if they need it, and then we divide it among the 18 lots by the number of years to our total ceiling.
Yeah, 4 years. So the first motion is to accept the 2 petitions, and then he's going to read a surveyor's report that establishes the amounts, and then we also have to set a public hearing date, which we can do at the June meeting.
So that assessment that we have, that's automatically put on, or it's only if we need it?
It's automatically on to a ceiling of 21,600. That's the next report.
Yeah, that comes after the acceptance of the petitions.
So we have legal drains and we have urban drains. And urban drains are subdivisions. So that money gets taken by the owners on their tax bills and waits for us to spend money to clean it, maintain it, as we saw with the Concord. We have money to do something if something happens to, needs to be cleaned.
Since this is Wagner Estates 2, I'm assuming there's Wagner Estates 1.
We were just having that discussion, and I think that never came to this board. Now, that's a separate watershed that I think 90% of this water does not drain to Wagner Estates 1. It all stays within itself. It goes a separate direction. Now, we do have some discussion about Wagner Estates 1, but we'll have to talk to County Highway about that.
Yeah, our plan was to contain all the drainage into the section 2 and not tie into section 1 at all.
Yeah.
So we're taking all our
So
stormwater.
what issues do we have with, I'd like to know if we got any issues with 1 before we discuss 2.
The issue we have with Wagner Estates 1 is the runoff is running down the county road in the concrete curb and gutter towards the county road, was at 200?
Yeah.
And then running north into the normal drainage ditches instead of going into the retention pond first. We've looked at this for, 8 years.
Yeah.
Looked at this project, Wagner Estates 1. And it's not really the runoff that's the problem, it's the silt that's coming down with the runoff into the county road and into the neighbors. So we have a solution, and like you said, we don't have any money in Wagner Estates 1 as an classified urban drain. So we're going to have to look to the county to help us out, fix that. We would like to stop the water from running past the inlets. That's what's happening. The water's coming down this hill, because it's a pretty good hill, in Wagner Estates 1, and also Wagner Estates 2. We want to stop it from running past those inlets and get into the inlet so it will trap the sediment before it gets out on the county road and bypasses the retention pond and gets to the neighbors to the north. But this is a separate watershed. This is the top of the hill, so this one's going north, Wagner Estates 1 goes west.
Yeah, we should be adding to that problem, but also we're not taking away from that problem either.
Yeah, I think you might take a little away from that problem.
Okay.
And this plan has some emergency overflow. So if it bypasses their structures on this plan, it will flow into their emergency overflow on top of the ground, which is usually better through vegetation, and not flood straight north. It'll actually still go in the pond. It won't be able to bypass these inlets.
Yeah, and we have an easement going back to the pond from the roadway for surface drainage.
That's what these 2 petitions are, to establish the classified urban drain for the easements and our ability to oversee them. And then the next one is the report for the amount of money that we are going to assess these lots so we can maintain it.
Well, I'm not going to make a motion. It's not my area. I'm not familiar with that area. I'm west of State Road 39.
Well, I guess it'd be a good idea to, at least with this one, we'll have jurisdiction over it. The other one, we don't have any jurisdiction whatsoever, right?
Yes, we need some jurisdiction and some funds.
Are you good with this, Tony? Since I'm assuming you've been on this,
Yes.
on top of this.
Very aware. I reviewed the plans, I reviewed the engineering calculations, I did the stormwater calculations, and the system's fine.
I move to approve the petition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And now you have the surveyor's report for urban drain, Wagner Estates Phase B subdivision By examination of the plans and documents prepared by Whiteman of Wagner Estates 2, Phase B subdivision consisting of 18 lots numbered 8 through 25, I determined the following. On April 18, 2023, petitions were submitted for establishment of a regulated and classification as urban drain to the LaPorte County Drainage Board with a total number of 18 lots. I determined that the assessment benefits will exceed the cost and will be of public benefit. An annual assessment of $5,400 will be necessary to maintain the drainage system. The subdivision contains 18 lots with an assessment of $300 per lot per year. The assessment will run on an annual basis until a 4-year ceiling of $21,600 has been attained, at which time the assessment will no longer be in effect unless funds are needed for maintenance. Upon withdrawal of any amount creating a balance of less than $21,600, the assessment will go back in effect until said 4-year ceiling is again attained. The schedule assessment as follows. Irish Rentals LLC, 4404 Technology Drive, South Bend, Indiana, 46628, lots 8 through 28. So I presume the board accepts this surveyor's report into the record?
Yes. By motion.
By motion.
We need a motion to accept that surveyor's report.
Motion to accept the surveyor's report.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alrighty.
Thanks. So just give me that safety legend and we'll
You just
sign
want me
it.
to email that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you have to have a motion to set the public hearing for the June meeting?
For the June 13th meeting.
Need a motion to accept the public hearing for Wagner Estates for the June 13th meeting.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to monthly reports. Hudson Lake.
Georgette Joyce, 7299 East Hudson Point Lane, New Carlisle. We had our May meeting last Thursday at Monroe's Crossing. It was the DNR community meeting where they gave a lot of information of the formation of Hudson Lake. Thank you, Pat Vance, for coming to the meeting. It was very successful. Over 80 people attended, and we did focus on the embracing the common goal of health of the lake and usability. So the DNR, with the history, pointed out how unique our lake is. It was formed by glacier. It doesn't have the normal things like rivers flowing in and flowing out. We depend on rain and groundwater and springs coming up to keep us at levels. We have very wide range of variability in our depths and so forth. And so it's going to take a lot of data collected over a long period of time for us to really put our arms around how to keep this lake healthy and usable. So the DNR is going to work with us to get grants for tools and so forth and to collect the data. And we're going to be obviously using our towhawk and other means to keep track of the data. We're working on our, the Deputy Director, Ryan Mueller, also gave us a time frame for the agreement between the Hudson Lake Conservation Association and the DNR for us to maintain the drain going forward. We'll get that agreement hopefully by the end of May, and then we'll do our due diligence, make sure we're all good and everybody's on track and sign it, and then you'll be off the hook for the year 1992 agreement with the DNR. That's the goal. We covered, we're redesigning our web page and actually the whole site, and that will be the place where we'll collect incidents for the and events that happen on the drain, so we can measure, what happens at certain levels. And we also have a LAIR grant for the dredging, and we sent out for bids for the public ramp as well as the Site 4, which is the southern channel of the lake going from the small Hudson to the east side. And then we shared various projects and so forth. The lake is hovering between 12 and 13 inches, and we could use more rain. So, just going back to the lake, it's really important because we share water levels, and because it's all ground fed and so forth, between the wells and businesses, pulling water out of the ground, that all impacts. But hopefully we can find that more information about that as we collect data. Any questions?
Any questions?
No, I just want to say thanks to you and all the people that are doing what you're doing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's for great benefit.
Just want to say it was a really good meeting, fascinating history, unbelievable the way that lake functions, the history that he gave us and how that lake functions. I didn't even know. He had a really nice illustration of the water table and how it works, and he said Hudson Lake is not on there on that picture. Remember?
Yeah.
It wasn't even. It's fed by groundwater. It's a very unique lake, but also I think. Hopefully you can get the community to take more ownership. I think that's the best thing. It was just reaching out to the community and getting the people there involved and to take ownership of the lake.
Yeah, and we did have sign-up sheets, and we did get around 10 to 12 people who are signing up. We need more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as we show results, then people get more engaged, and that's what we've been working very hard at doing. So yes.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Brad?
Quick update since Commissioner Grammarosa's not here on the Castro property. Last meeting we talked about me meeting with the commissioner, which I did. She was going to reach out to the property owners, and after getting kind of updated on the history of the project, I haven't heard back from her since. I don't know if she's had that opportunity, but we did have that meeting following the board meeting. So I'm sure she'll provide an update in June if there's an update to be had. Second thing on attorney reports, got approached by a private landowner out in Springfield Township. It's not a regulated drain, but there's a mutual drain out there. It's north of 800 West 800 North, in between 400 and 500 West in Springfield Township. It says the issue is a parcel to the west was sold to a new owner on December 21. The new owner, the property's held in a trust, but the problem that has occurred is the new owner has blocked a natural drainage that has been in existence and been used continuously for 60 to 80 years, if not more. County at one point even installed a culvert under 500 West as a natural drainage was from what is now my property over the property directly east and then to a ditch which drains into another ditch. And then the new owner, without regard to his actions, has now dumped loads of dirt across the natural drainage, which has backed up water onto my property. It's a significant blockage, but again, it's a private drain at this point. Christine has been out to look at the property. There may be issues where the county highway can get involved. There is a statutory procedure where the private property owner can put his neighbor on notice that he's causing an issue, and then if the neighbor doesn't address it, he can actually petition to the board for assistance. I'll direct the property owner to that statute if he chooses to go that path. We're just making the board aware of it right now in case it comes back up in June or later. But I don't know if you're passing out some pictures, but there's some pretty significant backup on farmland, and now it's potentially affecting the county highway as well.
So this could potentially be handled as a civic?
Potentially a civil matter, potentially with the road being involved, we're going to see if the county highway will go out and reach out to the property owner that's causing the problem, and they can address it that way. If not, the private property owner has a personal or private cause of action potentially, or like I said, there's a statutory mechanism for the drainage board where if upon petition the board can decide to intervene on his behalf, even on just a mutual drain.
So it looks to me like from the pictures, he dumped in the dirt along the road, along the road,
He has
for
a
a
private
driveway?
He has a private driveway. It's a new house.
and didn't put a culvert in.
I don't think so.
Well, then I guess that would be the building commissioner, correct?
That's another person to talk to.
So at this point, we're going to talk with the building commissioner, and we know privately in my private world this individual, so we will send his contact to Brad, the building commissioner, and Al. And he's a pretty easygoing guy, so I think, sure, either he'll put the pipe in or he'll pay to put the pipe into the county highway. So one way or another, we'll look at this like right away.
Okay.
There's nothing we need to send a letter on or anything, right?
No, if that's what Brad's saying.
Nothing
if it
even
comes,
appropriate for us to send a letter yet.
If the owner asks us to, I can, as county surveyor, act and give him a 10-day notice.
Right.
Okay, anybody got any questions on that? Anything else, Brad?
That's all I have for attorney.
Tony.
To catch up on the Castro Woods of Concord, right? I've contacted a couple landscaping people to give us some prices on those, and we have the money since they're classified as urban drain. That if it comes to that, I will work with the county commissioners and Brad. I would forward those to them, and they could decide how they would like to do that. But that does need to get stabilized. Kankakee River Basin Commission had a meeting with lots of individuals, DNR, at the English Lake to look at ways to make English Lake function better in the flood times and make sure the Yellow River stays in the Yellow River, make sure the Kankakee doesn't take the brunt of the Yellow River. The Yellow River is approximately 5 to 7 feet higher than the Kankakee, so it takes the brunt of the Yellow River during a flood. They're working on that with some modeling and some engineering, and we had a meeting and went well. All the farmers expressed their needs, which is what I just told you. We don't want the Yellow River cutting off the Kankakee. And then I'll send the email contact about the driveway pipe to Al and Mike Poland, building commissioner, and we'll see how quickly he can get that moving.
Tony, I've been hearing about that cutoff and that box culvert they're putting in, and they're talking about a flat gate on it, and that doesn't sound good to me. I think it should be a natural flowway where nobody has to regulate the flat gate.
The flap gate's one of the things they're discussing at the Kankakee Drive over spillway that would only open into the English Lake, so it would not let the Yellow push back. So it'd be automatic. There's nothing that anyone would do. It would just open as the Kankakee need to go into the English Lake. But if the Yellow pushed, it would not let it open. It would only seep into the Kankakee. That's one of the options. But another option came up that they might put another spillway at the South Cross Road that goes in the area towards where the confluence, and let it go naturally where it used to go, and let the Yellow flow back into the confluence area, not straight across the Kankakee. Another concern is if we run it back into the Yellow, the same thing that happened to the Kankakee, you're running flood water at a high velocity directly at the opposite bank. So we don't want to destroy the other bank of the Yellow either, just like it destroyed the other bank of the Kankakee. So they're doing the modeling, and DNR, I don't know, 8 years ago did some amazing data work and surveying, so we have the ability to model what any flood looks like to see if we're going to cross levee, or we're going to flap gate, or we're going to move another cross levee in, or what. They're going to give us a lot of options.
I hate to see another situation like 2017 where DNR is out there with the tractor backhoe trying to break the bank.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, we're not doing that again.
Okay.
Well, that's all going. What they're talking about, that flap gate's going to go down by the point there, somewhere in that area. Is that what we're talking about?
The flap gate would be at the drive over spillway on the Kankakee, where they got the big seawall that was destroyed. Because that's where the Yellow's cutting off the Kankakee. So we want to make sure the Yellow doesn't have that ability, and it stops there, and it keeps flowing back south to go back into the Yellow.
Okay.
That's the main concern here. We need the Yellow to stop cutting off the Kankakee. That's all I have.
I got one question for you. Back to that subdivision up there we got an issue at. You said something about that you were going to take money from. There was money in the account.
No, Wagner. I just looked. Wagner Estates.
No, not Wagner Estates. The other one.
Woods of Concord. Yes, if we need to, we can come back and petition the county drainage board to take money out of the urban drain to pay for that, and then the owners will have to pay for that. We will start that fund back up, and they'll have to pay for that.
So the people that did the damage are not going to have to pay for this then, or we put that on our tax bill, or how's that work?
That'll be up to our attorney.
And that'll be up to the commissioners ultimately too, how they want to address it. I mean, they'd be paying part of it as a property owner out there in the subdivision, but whether they should pay all of it, that depends on the path that the commissioners choose to take.
Okay.
For the board's information, the Woods of Concord Pond, the owners are correct. People were dumping things into that, burning leaves, dumping grass. People, since the day we put that pond in, they were using it as a dumping ground, and that needed to stop. So yes, they took some trees out, but people were using it for things they should never have used it for. And the developer had always been cleaning it up with his own money. Well, the developer has moved to Arizona, and I think he's now deceased, and they were stuck with it. So I do feel for them what they were going through, but what they did was not the appropriate action. We could have helped them through that without taking that out. So there's a balance of who gets that.
County's here now. Do you have any update on that, or
The Woods of
the
Concord.
woods?
I informed the board that we met. I didn't know if you had the opportunity to meet with the property owners afterwards or not yet.
Here, we'll let you join the meeting. Come on up.
If I just sit down here, I'll sit down first. If you want. So,
So I did drive out there twice already, and I couldn't make contact with the people. So I don't know what you want to do at this point.
I'm getting some costs from landscaping to put that back and stabilize it.
Okay.
So the question is, if we have the money, the question is going to be between the commissioners and the commissioner's attorney and the drainage board attorney. Do they pay the whole freight, or they pay part of the freight, or because the money will be rebuilt into that fund on a tax basis on their tax bills. That fund will be replenished automatically.
And what I would suggest as council is once we get those quotes, we find a way to approach the property owner with that, so they're at least provided notice that this county is going to take action and that they reserve the right to hold them responsible for the entire cost, if that's what we decide to do.
Yeah, and I would agree, because I think that before we go ahead and we order everything that we need to and try putting it back together, that we notify them and let them know that this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I don't think we can put it back together like it was. It was very expensive. We would just straw blanket or hydro seed and stabilize it with grass.
Okay.
So it'd be a lot cheaper than putting the trees and vegetation that were in there.
Right.
And you should have those, any idea when? The quotes?
He's supposed to call me back. Yesterday, he hasn't called me back, but probably today.
Okay.
Any other reports on joint boards? Do we have any claims?
I have 6 claims. I can make a report for White Ditch real quick. She's not able to be here, but we have an ongoing tree monitoring program in place. And then the other question I have is, are we going to be canceling the July 11th meeting since everyone's at the fair? Or
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I don't think that we need it all in favor, but all in favor?
Aye.
okay, then I can provide notice because it's the same week as Fair Week. So I can proceed to claims. I have 6 claims. Do you want to just make one motion to approve all of them? Is that okay, Brad? Okay.
Identify them, but yeah.
Yeah, so, I have 3 claims from right-of-way management for the bank spraying that they did. So the one is for the Rodman ditch, and that totals $12,242.90. That comes out of the Rodman ditch fund. Second bank spraying was for Little Kankakee River, a total of $4,936.72. That comes out of Little Kankakee River Fund. Third from right-of-way management for ditch bank spraying was for the Bull Ditch at a total of $4,873.70, and that all comes out of the Bull Ditch Fund. Next claim from Carl Netzer for tree removal on the Little Kankakee River for a total of $13,700, and that all comes out of the Little Kankakee River Fund. Next invoice from William Beaver for okay, so he did the ditch digging on that Bridge Run ditch, which we approved his claim last month, but then he also had to do some culvert lowering and replacement, so this is the bill for that. It's a total of $5,500 for the removal and lowering of one culvert on the Brantley property at $4,000, and the removal of a collapsed culvert on the Bellini's property for $1,500. And that I have to borrow from General Drain Improvement Fund to cover it, but it'll get paid back through the assessment. Last claim is from Bailey Excavating for the Rhoda Ditch. That job has been completed, and his total bill was $46,442, and that all comes out of the County Line Ditch Fund, and there's enough in there to cover that.
Have a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
I need a motion first.
Oh, sorry. Make a motion to approve the claims as stated.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Any public comment?
Just more to let Christine know, I will not be in town on June 13th. I should have internet access available, or at least phone access, so I can jump on the meeting that way, but I won't be here in person.
All right, anything else? Okay, we'll adjourn. See you next month here, June 13th, 8:30.